Blog Talk Radio.
Everybody, Joseph Gibson podcasting here, Restoring the Republic. We'll be live here in about, I'll open the phone lines. Anybody wants to talk tonight, 657-383-0616, press number 1. We're going to be going over the voter integrity action plan that we got. So we'll be connected back here about 2 minutes after this.
We often hear that we must pay for alleged wrongdoings of our imperial past by submitting to massive immigration into our homeland. This argument depends upon white guilt. Some of our people get a rush from indulging in ethno-masochism, but we can smash this politically correct charade simply by refusing to apologize for who we are. I'm not sorry for the colonization of indigenous peoples. After Europeans left, they went back to their third world ways. Moreover, these people create nothing new, except for dictatorship, cannibalism, poverty, and civil war. I'm not sorry for apartheid. After the native Africans took control, they slaughtered the whites in the area just as they did in Haiti. Have a look at what happened under Robert Mugabe. I'm not sorry for slavery. Every race on the planet has practiced slavery at one point or another. More whites were abducted and enslaved by Muslims than the number of blacks enslaved by whites. It was whites who founded the abolitionist movement and fought to end slavery. Today, various tribes in Africa continue to enslave each other, yet they say there's only blood on the hands of Europeans. If anything, under white rule, third world countries had a higher standard of living than they could ever produce on their own. After we leave you to yourselves, what we build for you is destroyed. We are not dependent on you. If anything, you need us. I'm not sorry for the Crusades. Our ancestors courageously fought to drive Islam out of Europe. If it weren't for their valor, our entire civilization would be under Islamic tyranny. That same heroic spirit still flows through the blood of our people today. Ethno-nationalism among Europeans is rising in the face of invaders. I'm not sorry for imperialism. The Mongols built the largest empire in human history, but nobody suggests that they should be denied their sense of cultural and racial identity. The issue isn't that our ancestors were imperialists. It's that we were the best at it. We came, we saw, we conquered. Such allegations against the entire white world are just excuses to rob us of our once prosperous homeland. Saudi Arabia insists that Europe should take in more refugees when they're a rich oil state capable of housing millions of them. Instead of importing their own kinsmen to their country, they offer to build mosques in Germany. I'm not sorry for the alleged Holocaust. The Soviet Commissars murdered at least 30 million of my people in Eastern Europe. We don't hear about these atrocities because Jews weren't the victims, but the culprits. I refuse to shed a tear for your Hollywood narrative. When the Jews fled Europe following the Second World War, they proceeded to ethnically cleanse the Palestinians to establish Israel. This displacement in the Middle East created resentment towards the Western world. The Zionists drive them out, and we have to take them in. Liberals will claim they're standing for human rights, but the minute you tell them whites have the right to self-determination, they scream, "You're part of the problem," thereby embracing the cultural and demographic genocide of a race that has created the very civilization they take for granted. There's no point in apologizing anyway. They merely see it as a sign of weakness and will attack you even harder. The only way to stand up for yourself and your people is to refuse to apologize. We're not sorry for what our ancestors did. We're not sorry for who we are today. No apologies, no regrets, no doubt, no compromise. We're not sorry.
For commercial crimes against the state in the absence of an injured party. Not the kind of freedom that flies the military's admiralty flag in its courtrooms and sends you to prison for failing to worship its symbols. Not the kind of freedom that sends you to prison for refusing to enter the bar. No, sir. Our colleagues have been willing to stand, fight for, and die for human freedom. Not a kind of freedom that classifies its own people as legal fiction entities entities in their books and records, distinct and apart from the living man and mocking his or her name. Not the kind of freedom that classifies you as terrorists under Section 802 of the Patriot Act by reclassifying you as a special class of legal fiction subject known as a U.S. person. Not the kind of freedom that forces you to confess to being a United States person simply to be permitted to place your money in safekeeping at a bank. Not the kind of freedom that has incarcerated millions of people and a greater percentage of the population than any nation on earth. Not the kind of freedom that supports banking institutions whose own books demonstrate that you are the source of the funds you purportedly borrow from them when you sign the promissory note. They deposit it on their books as an asset. They loan you back their own funds. They understand their own regulations state they are not permitted to loan funds from their deposits, nor loan their own credit, and then they hide the journals, and the judges are complicit in not enforcing them or forcing them to bring forth those journals into court. Not the kind of freedom that sends your tax dollars to foreign money predators to fund your own enslavement. Not the kind of freedom that condemns you to the secret life of being a tenant on your own land according to your own deed, and that sends elderly, blind people, infirm people, helpless people to jail at the request of the banking institutions of this country. No, my friends, not the kind of freedom that secretly replaced law with equity in 1933 without a whimper from the federal judges. Not the kind of freedom that requires state permission to be married in the form of a marriage license, state permission to travel in the form of a driver's license, state permission to conduct business, your occupation, bring food and money home to your family by requiring you to sign up as a legal fiction subject class citizen on a business license subject to their rules and regulations. Clearly, the United States Federal Corporation has not changed its ways since my offer of 3 or 4 years earlier. And through its own actions, through its own arrogance, and through its own ignorance of its own history, they have cast the die. The sovereign people are back, and we are coming for you. We will be re-inhabiting the original de jure lawful, notice I didn't say legal, lawful and proper institutions of governance that have been preempted by illegitimate incorporation, and we will do it all in the next few months, lawfully, peacefully, quickly, quietly, non-violently. The era of corporate servitude is over. And all we need to make it happen is a handful of you in every state to stand up and be reckoned with. And we will do all of this, folks, relying upon the one thing that the United States rarely demonstrates, the one essential ingredient of this process, forgiveness in our hearts. We will follow the lead of Mandela and Gandhi and Martin Luther King, and we will welcome each and every man and woman who has blood on their hands back into the good graces of mankind in honor and service to our Father, because judgment is reserved to Him. And we will do that upon their repenting their crimes against mankind. That's all we ask. We will not seek retribution. We will not take actions that cause unrest, disturb the peace, disorder, or provoke violence. However, and take note, we will not tolerate trespass on the de jure institutions of government when they are re-inhabited any longer. You only get one chance at repentance and forgiveness. And I tell you this, friends, in my many discussions with many people over the years, I know for a fact that we will not be alone. Thousands of public servants have been quietly awaiting the moment when the sovereign people awaken and reclaim their birthright to dominion over all the earth. They will be our partners. They understand we are coming to rescue them as well. We are coming to rescue their children and their grandchildren and their posterity as well as ours, because the posterity belongs to all of us, to you, to me, to everyone in America. And it must, and it will be restored if we are to fulfill our destiny, our grand destiny, the destiny that we have been charged with by high rank.
All right. I'm back here, restoring our republic. Okay. I just had to play that because somebody asked me to play that. I played that before, actually, but that was from the Restore America plan, and that was back when I sat down with the military. Yeah, that's what he was going to start talking about next. When I sat down with the military and other people and whatnot, but it's 2 hours long. I'm not going to play the whole thing. So, but anyway, that's basically what it is. We are slaves today. We are slaves to the system, and we're going to find out, again, just how far we can push our voices peacefully here, because we're going to demand changes within the vote. If we can't vote in our republic, if we can't have honest elections, if we can't change that and restore honesty and integrity to our voting process, because that's what we've been working on now behind the scenes here and then on the podcast shows for the past week, and coming up with a plan to contact state by state the legislators, the Secretary of State, and those states, and the county and state board of elections, whoever handles your election process in your state, to demand voter integrity changes and make sure that these voter integrity suggestions that we want to see implemented in each and every state across this union. And they're lawful, and there's nothing, and everyone with common sense would agree with what we're suggesting. And those who don't agree with it, obviously there's just no talking, there's no deals with the devil. I've always said that. We can't make deals with the devil. If they're going to disagree and they're going to fight, twist and turn and kick and fight back because they want, or they have an agenda, and their agenda will fail, because we're not going to continue to allow this corruption to continue. This banana republic we have, this puppet entertainment we have, where we have the two parties feeding off of each other, and one guy is holding up both puppets. No, we the people are that branch. We're sick and tired of it, and the Constitution gives us this right and the right to take action and to take part in the government and in the inner workings of the government, and especially when we see and know there's corruption. So we've had enough, and we all agree that we have to start with the voting process. We could talk about the 10,000 other issues and be distracted, and we can bury ourselves in nonsense if that's what you want to do. We could do that and continue on every Tuesday with this show and other podcast shows if that's what you want to do, if that's fun. But guarantee it's all going to come crashing down soon. They've got plans, and you're not included. So it's a big club, and you're not in it. So trust me that these people have a new world order planned, and they're going to get it unless we in America here stand up and restore our republic. Simple as that. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. There's no sidestepping the issue. There's no this, oh, what about this? Oh, no. We have to start with the voting, and that's what we're going to do. Now, I got Alan here. I called Alan. He's from Colorado. I might connect him in a second here. Let me connect my other two callers who got their hand up first. Go to 503. Go ahead.
Hello, Joseph. It's your friendly neighborhood lucid libertarian, Lorianne here. Happy Tuesday.
All right. There you go. I didn't recognize your number there. But, yeah, I'm glad I connected you first. That's good. That's good. I'm glad I connected you first because you're the one that drafted up the final proposal here of the election integrity papers that we drafted up. So what do you think? What's your opinion? If you want to speak on that real quick before I connect anybody else, you want to give your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that, what you provided me was a good start, and then I just kind of did some tweaks, trying to make it generic so that it can be kind of used as a template for other people to use, and they can modify it as needed to be state-specific if they're sending it to their own state legislators or election officials. But I think we got a good start at it. So it's, I can tweak it. We can discuss it tonight. I can make some changes to it as needed, and then finalize it, and we can start sending it out to anybody that wants to access it and download it and use it for themselves to send off to their state legislators and their electors, and maybe
what we want to do is
some headway on
when you finalize it, what I want to do is we're going to pick a day, say like Tuesday or Wednesday, and that's going to be the day. Either I'll start it off. I'll either call on my show these people, and everyone who's on the Blog Talk wagon here, who's listening, who supports us, and who's down with this, will submit it through email or through a telephone call to that particular legislator or secretary of state. We all have to act on the same day. So they're bombarded all at once with that, and then, for that particular state, and then we'll move to the next state and just keep going down the line, because we just can't do it like, I'll do it on Wednesday, and then you do it on Thursday, and then this guy does it on Friday, and then this guy don't do it at all, and then this person that thinks maybe next week he'll do it. You know what I mean? We all got to do it at once to make a difference. That's what I'm thinking. Would you agree?
Yeah, I like that strategy, and and we could do it more than once too. I like the idea of going state by state, and I like that you're going to call that. But then again, we could do it both ways too. I could tackle Oregon, because some of us have our shows and everything on the weekends when they're not around, and so I like that idea. I think that. If we kind of bombard them when they get just one individual email, then that's only one, and it's easy to kind of shove it aside. But when they get, 10 or 12 or 15 people all sending them or calling them about, the same exact thing, then, maybe they'll grab an extra cup of coffee and pay attention. Yeah.
Well, we want more than 15. We want hundreds. We want to get into the thousands range. That's the goal here. That's the plan. So let me connect 330. There, wait. Let's see who 330 is. Go ahead, 330.
You got him, you lucky devil.
Oh, there you. I recognize that voice. There. And now I'm going to patch in Alan too. Okay. I got Alan out in Colorado too. I'm going to patch him in.
Okay, you're talking about election stuff. You know what? I was listening to a bunch of different things today, and I'm telling you right now, the most simplified and paper ballot ID, and it has to be run the same everywhere, or it's garbage.
Well, what we did, Tabe, is this. Tabe, we drafted up a bunch of, I'll get it emailed to you. We drafted up a spreadsheet already of what the changes are going to be, what we all agreed upon. With the IDs, with no more mail-in ballots, stuff like that. So that's something, like I said, you'll have to get a copy of it. And that's what we're going to use and send to them and contact them all at once.
You can't believe how much difference in discrepancy there is between each state. Some of them, it's so mind-boggling for a process that we all are doing for the same outcome. You know what I mean? They've complicated it so much. It's why we're where we're at. But did you hear about the election with this talk of the cellular network that they were using that they found out about?
No, I didn't hear nothing about that. I can only imagine what else is being found out.
They talked about being connected to the Internet. Nobody's connected to the Internet. Well, actually, they may not have been, but what they were connected to was a cellular phone company so that they could access the Internet, but through a phone. You wouldn't see it as an actual transmission through a link, like you would be clicking on an email. You would be dialing a phone number up, or you would be using the data from the phone. That's
unreal.
I think it's
unreal. Well, that's the cloud. Yeah, the cloud. Yeah, that goes into the cloud, and that's in the proposal too. Nothing goes into the cloud. You know, I don't know. I might read them off again here tonight. I'm not sure. But Lorianne has the final. I'll make sure you get it. I have your email. She doesn't have your email, but she's preparing an email list and getting everybody's email together. And everybody's got to get a copy. But nobody send it out until we're ready. I really want everyone to do it all at once, each state. You know, just like we were just talking about. You know, because it's better that way. I got Alan on the line. I've been waiting. Alan, go ahead. You're connected, Alan. We can hear you now.
How you guys doing today?
All right.
Hey. Stay above dirt's always good.
I listened to that intro, and I can't disagree with a darn thing about it. But there's a couple of things that I need to add to it. First of all, there is very few of us that are out here above the age of 50 that have extended ourselves in order to support all of these things, to come up with these things, to show people when we were 16 and 17 and 23 our experience in how to make this system work. But when we sit there and we blame the government, the only thing you have to do is go to the nearest mirror and start yelling at yourself, because we, the people, are the government. And as long as we allow these other people to do our jobs for us, okay, in proxy, and that's literally what it is. So we can go to a football game, or we can sit there and ignore what our government is doing. That is what has ultimately happened. And the other thing I want to bring up is I interviewed a whistleblower yesterday, possibly for my show later, and one of the biggest things is they have attacked him, and he had, let's just say he was very close to several presidents in his official federal work. And the issue is they even took his Social Security away because he became a whistleblower. And our voices are easy in order to silence. All they have to do is turn off your channel. All they have to do is turn off your income. All they have to do is shut you away from the audience. And then all of the education, all of our effort is wasted. That is really what the crux is. And the other thing of it is, the audience that we have here, if you're just listening, I really appreciate it. But have you gone to the coffee shop and mentioned this to anybody at the coffee shop in detail? Are you actually active in the things that these people are sticking their necks out? Now, the other thing that you might not realize is the fact that we have been at war for the last, well, actually since 2005. The Chinese really did announce and give notice that they were going to war with us, to include biological warfare. And since then, the Chinese have financed the political factions. They have financed the YouTube propaganda. They have financed small groups, 10 to 20 people, that they will give money to go out and specifically target one person until they're no longer effective. So the interaction with our audience, it isn't an interaction with our audience, it's our audience interaction with us that we're going to depend on.
Yeah. No, you're right. And you know, look, we can't get 10 people to meet at Burger King for a cup of coffee. You know, I mean, that's how pathetic our country is. Really, it is. It's pathetic. And that's why I opened up like that, too. Look, if you guys want to joke around, you want to turn this into a joke and just want to talk and blow huff and puff until I blow your house down stuff, you know, that's fine. We could do that. I'll pack it in. I don't want to do this then, you know, because we got to get together and do something. I'm running for public office here in North Carolina.
You just gave me one heck of an idea. You know, I did say, you know, did you bring up, you know, any of this at the coffee shop? Do you remember back 20 years ago that everybody once or twice a month would stop, go to Denny's, and go to a coffee break? Do you remember those where we'd all get together from the CB or other groups?
Yeah, I remember
and we'd have
those,
a coffee break. Why not have a Patriot coffee break?
Well, that's the
At a
problem,
local
though,
restaurant.
is getting the patriots together. Because guess what? We will argue about who's going to bring the coffee.
Well, no, I
You
mean,
know?
it's the same. I mean, you go there, Dutch treat, but it's a patriot coffee break where families and people like ourselves can gather. But, you know, advertise that on, you know, Your Life. There's several small little platforms for different communities, okay?
Yeah.
You can advertise it on that. You can advertise it on Craigslist. And you know what? It's only going to cost you, what, $250 in order to go there yourself.
Yeah.
Okay? Find
Well,
out
well,
what,
let me explain this. Let me explain this, Alex. See, but right now, like I said, tonight was the attack battle plan. Is what we're going to do. Is tonight is what I really wanted to go over. Is we've got the template all put together. Lorianne's going to finalize it tonight, and before Friday comes, everybody's going to have it. And I think Monday or Tuesday of next week, that's when we're going to start hitting the states with the Voter Integrity Act that we want implemented in each state. And so I think we'll start next week. I think that's the goal, is to start sending it out next week. And now next week on my show, I'll probably schedule my show maybe about an hour earlier, and I want to call these people and put them on notice about it. I'm going to read it off to them when they answer the phone, or I'm going to try to get a hold of the secretary, whatever state we pick first, and then everyone else is going to call or email that representative that day, and that's how we're going to do it. You know, go and state by state, because like Lorianne was saying, we don't want one person sending something on Friday or then on Wednesday. You know, we want everybody to do it on the same day, because if you get 20, 30, 50, 100,000 people sending something, they're going to take notice, and it's going. And hey, who knows? The corporate media may pick it up. We may get some exposure out of this. Who knows? You know. But if all the podcasters get together and do this, we can make a difference.
As of the first of next month, according to all the advertising by the mainstream media, they will have their new shots prepared. In addition to that, they've passed recent legislation beginning next month that allows them, in order to lock down large, vast areas once again. And if we're going to sit there and go ahead and lock down and then prepare these documents, sure, locking down gives us plenty of time in order to prepare these documents. But I think that we need to get something out there, such as a quo warranto, and include that with our submission.
Well, I know. We already, maybe in the future. Yeah, maybe in the future, but no, I don't want it. Right now, we agree we're just going to go after it, because if we start watering it down and we start adding all the other thousands of issues, Caitlyn Jenner, sex change and stuff like that, we start putting everything in there,
Well, no, I don't plan on putting Bruce Jenner or any of this.
Yeah, I know. That was just sarcasm,
The idea is, how do we reinforce the fact that we're not going to do it, and they have the obligation, not the frivolous decision that they will make, or, go out to the highest bidder.
Those optics are not in my corner. Hang on, Alan, hang on. Those are not optics that we need to concern ourselves about. We're the people. We're in charge. We're going to put the ball in their court. How they react, what they do with it, is up to them. We'll deal with that afterwards.
That's exactly what I'm referring to. People do not realize that a quo warranto translates into by what authority. In other words, we have the authority. You're absolutely right. So including some teeth along with that, which is a quo warranto, by what authority, showing the fact that there's multiple people prepared to remove them from office if they do not follow.
That's not what we're doing right now. We're not trying to remove anybody from office right now. We're giving our representatives in each state a letter of demand or a suggestion that what we want implemented for the voter integrity laws in each state. We want to see voter integrity. We want to see the voting in this country change.
It's not in their best interest. It's not in their best interest in order to follow that description.
That's fine.
Hey, listen.
That's fine.
You know what? I'm the head of the Hell's Angels. Okay, I'm the head of the Hell's Angels, and there's a cop sending me a letter. Will you guys stop drinking? No, I don't think. Do you think we should stop drinking? Should we stop running illegal?
No, I understand. I got you on that. I understand that. But do we expect it to, Alan? Do we expect them to go all of a sudden start changing all the voting laws across the country? Most likely not. But we're going to try something here that hasn't been done on Blog Talk Radio. We're trying something new. That's been tried. What you're talking about? Everybody's done it. We've done it. We're going to get together and we're going to sue them and we're going to remove them from office. No, listen.
No,
we're going to try something different.
I don't know anyone that has used the quote. As a matter of fact, I looked up some. Well, yes, it has, but when it has been done, it's been very effective. But it is a very narrow action. It will only remove one person, and there is a vacuum created, and there's 5 more corrupt people that are ready in order to take that vacuum over. Okay, it's the same
I
thing
understand.
as the mob. You knock off the head of the mob. All you're doing is just repositioning everybody, and you still have the mob to deal with.
Yeah, no, we're not here to fix the republic. We're not going to restore the republic by this one template of voter integrity laws that we're doing. What we're doing is we're just putting a feel. What we're trying to do is get people mobilized and thinking. That's what we're trying to do, and we're going to see what happens from there. If we get one person out of this who does it and nobody else does, then fine. I know where we stand. I know where our republic is completely dead. Oh, then let's just wait for the military or the foreign troops to come in here, crash the economy, destroy everything, and that's it. And I'll wait, and I got my buddies, and I'll fight my little pocket of resistance here, and then maybe people will wake up then, and we'll connect later. That's all, because I don't get, because that's the way it's got to be, I mean, that's how.
We already have Biden taking national emergency to stop the 2024 election under climate change. He's already declared it. Now, under him doing that,
there's no such thing as climate change.
Down.
There's no such thing as man-made climate change.
It doesn't matter.
What they did is
don't matter,
they took a 150-year cycle.
Because they're going to implement it, and they're going to lock down everybody.
But the sun has a 370-year cycle between.
Well, I'm not worried about the cycles except anything with the voting cycle, and it's not probably.
For the next 30 years, we're going through a mini ice.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that. Yeah, see, I don't want to get. Hang on, I don't want to jump off topic here. I don't want to go too far out there with, with the end of the world and Biden. Yeah, I know what Biden's doing. He's a criminal, and I know what he's doing, and I know what the Democrats are doing. We know that. We talked about this. We'll talk about it all. I mean, there's many things we could talk about here tonight. Trump's indictments. Yeah, there's lots of issues. But problem is that's all we're doing is talking about it. Nothing's getting done. We're wasting space here. I got 379 podcast shows here in my archive right now of talking about problems. Has anything been done yet? When are we going to start getting together and doing something? When are we going to have shows that say, hey, we accomplished something, or hey, we got together and we did something. Hey, we stuck together. Hey, we got something documented. Why don't we do that? And at least we can say, hey, remember we did this. You know what I mean?
I hate to say it, but I'll tell you what, David Straight sounds like more and more like he's got it more together than anybody I'm hearing talk about it, because David Straight has come out with a couple of different interviews and has laid it down. There's no more sovereign citizen. You don't want to be a sovereign citizen. Is slave in the de jure shit that they got now. We need to.
Hey, I got another caller here. Let me punch him on through. Go ahead, private caller. Private caller. You're unmuted. Unmuted you. You put your hand up. You pressed 1. That's why I unmuted you. You must have heard the unmute. Are you there? Oh. Hello? Maybe not. Let's mute him. Let me hang up on him.
Is there anybody out there?
Sorry, I had myself double muted. Excuse me.
Oh, okay. There he goes. Okay. I kind of figured it was Sarge.
Yeah, I was double muted. I had my the headset muted and the phone muted. Excuse me, I'm messing up there. But look here. Look, you're doing a... Yeah, man. I tell you, I'm putting the double whammy on myself. But look here, you're doing a good job, Joe. I mean, you're making us real. And your callers, quite frankly, are raising excellent points. And they're making us all aware of the mountain we've got to overcome here. But look, I'd like to remind you guys, some of the greatest men in history, some of the most determined men in history, known as the Founding Fathers, after the Battle of Lexington and Concord, they sent an olive branch petition to King George asking for peace so there wouldn't have to be a war. They didn't want a war. They wanted to try to resolve it peacefully. They were not. Nobody's going to say they were afraid to fight, are you? But they said, look, let's try to resolve this without the need for bloodshed. Similarly, we're trying to start off, because look, this cannot continue. They cannot say there can't be an election, because there's never been a period in American history, no matter what the crisis was, where people weren't allowed to vote. That would be a casus belli. Okay? We don't want to get there. We want to start off by saying to our representatives, look, all we need to be reassured of is election integrity, not the election outcome. If we lose the election and there's integrity in the election, so bloody well be it. But we can't believe that with this current state of affairs. So we got to take a little bite at a time. Starting off with the election. Everybody agrees that they'll do again what they did in 2020 if we don't stop them and get election integrity. That's got to be a number one priority. That's all we're trying to do here. Fight and hold. Fight and hold.
Exactly.
So, I mean, we got to understand why we're doing it. Yes, all these things, they don't want to have election integrity because particularly if they're Democrats, they want to make it easier to cheat. We understand that. What we're trying to do is get a groundswell of people who will say to themselves, we know you Democrats want to cheat, and that's why you want to keep universal mail-in balloting. That's why you want to have drop boxes. That's why they have all the stuff that in many states the courts have ruled is a violation of the Constitution. Well, we don't want to make it easier for you to cheat. It's more important to have election integrity than it is to be easy to vote. The integrity is more important than the ease of voting, and that's what we got to get across to these people.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
All right. What do we do when we find out that there wasn't integrity, regardless of what?
Hang on, Dave. Hang on, Alan. Hang on, Dave. Hang on, Alan. Hang on, Alan. Tabe was talking. Go ahead, Tabe. Go ahead. Say what you were going to say.
What do we do about the sanctuary city situation with the illegals that we know they're going to give ballots to? Like where I'm at in Akron, Ohio, I got to get the hell out of here because it's a sanctuary city. But I know that they're already letting the people come in, and you see it all over the country. We have actually sanctuary states that are going to permit these people to vote. What do we do about that?
Well, that's addressed in the list. Yes, that's addressed in, you have to have an ID. You got to have proper ID to vote and stuff like that. So, that's addressed in the list. You'll get the list. I'll make sure it gets emailed to you, but that's addressed. All these concerns are addressed in the list. I mean, I'll read off some of them right now pretty much if you want. I mean, I've done it a few times already. All right. So I'll make sure you get a copy of it. I'll make sure you get a copy of it tonight. And Lorianne, like I said, is tinkering with it. And by the end of the week, we'll have a finalized draft. And next week on Monday or Tuesday, bam, we'll start hitting the states. I'll probably start with Georgia, and then we'll go ahead and hit Oregon on the West Coast, and then go to Florida, something like that along those lines. You know what I mean? So I know because Lorianne's doing the work, getting finalized, so I want to get her state maybe first or second. And then, of course, Sarge's got a lot of corruption in Georgia, so we want to hit Georgia right away. I mean, it's a lot going on there.
Add, we got the ID part in there, but, I can add to it saying, only U.S. citizens are allowed to vote here. So, we can...
Well, in a federal election, but in a federal election, that's already the law. You've got to be a United States citizen to vote in any federal election. Now, in the state elections, that's different. Local elections, that's different. That's up to the state. But in a federal election, you must be a U.S. citizen. But we know what time it is. We know what they're doing. They're making it easier for illegal citizens to be able to vote with universal mail-in balloting and mailing out ballots to people who haven't even requested them yet.
Yeah.
That lady
Alan,
in California, didn't she... The lady in California, by herself, didn't she harvest something like 17,000 ballots?
Yeah, something like that. I remember that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Mail-in ballots are out.
Regardless of these extra votes that we're referring to, the other methods are so much more effective. What would happen if we took our integrity vote and went door to door neutrally? Not for Biden, not for Walt Disney, but just simply go and let these people know to go down and physically vote, to ignore the restrictions, to ignore that. And when people go down to vote and they find out that they've already voted by mail, and we have all these people saying, no, I didn't, I think we have enough affidavits in order to sit there and actually show
we don't want to go on the job. What we're doing, I don't want to get sidetracked. We're not going to vote. We're not campaigning for anybody. Well, I don't want to go and wake up citizens door to door.
I don't want to campaign. I want to campaign. Yeah. I want to campaign for integrity. That's what I'm referring to.
That's what we're doing.
We avoid the vote, but I think that this should go door to door with or flyers or mail-outs or something like that. Reminding people the mess we had, 2 years ago.
No, it's
well,
going
Joe,
to
he's got a point, though. But Joe, he's got a point. I mean, we can remember pressure is what's going to take to get this through state legislatures.
Well, if everyone wants to notify their community, that's fine then. That's fine. But
got to put pressure on the legislatures of the states, because that's what the Constitution says. They got to put pressure on the legislature of the states in order to ensure these election laws have integrity. So I think that's
what we're going to do, Sarge.
What we're doing, going directly to the legislature, and what people can do, going door to door to ask people to put pressure on the people who represent them.
Oh, okay. I see your point. Yeah, okay. I don't have a problem with people doing that. That's on your own accord. I'm talking about as a podcaster and contacting all the podcast shows with their listening audience. That's what we're starting off with. What people want to do with contacting members of their own community, sure, by all means. I mean, I can't say no to that.
I don't care if it's the 4-H. You can go to the 4-H. You can go, to the racquetball club you belong to. You know what I mean? It would not be difficult to go about your everyday life and distribute, you can take a single piece of paper and write 4 different flyers and cut it in 4 pieces, and you've got plenty of stuff in order to drop around any place and every place you go.
The rough draft that we're sending out, hang on.
What can you do?
Everybody, listen, the draft we're sending out to everybody, you could do what you want with it. Make copies of it, hand it out in your neighborhood, whatever you want. I'm just saying that copy has got to go to the state legislator in the states we target. What you do with it after that is great, yes, but we're going to stick to the plan here. I don't want to get diverted to make other plans, and then nothing ever gets done. If you guys want to add stuff to do after, that's fine. I just want to don't get buried on other things, you know what I mean? And we start going 80 different directions. I've seen this happen before. Stay focused like a laser beam, on one particular thing. You know what I mean? I'm going to connect Mike here from Florida. I'm sorry, Dave, go ahead.
How about an ad to YouTube? I don't know how much it costs to run an ad like that on YouTube, but I'm saying we spoke as a group.
They won't let you run an ad like that. They're not going to let you. If you go to the mainstream media and no matter how much money, they're going to sit there and screw up the print. They're going to write it backwards. They're going to sit there and make it so it doesn't have volume.
Hey, guys, let me connect Mike from Florida. Let me connect Mike there. We've got a bunch of people here on the line here, so go ahead there, Mike.
Hey, Joe.
I hope that's Mike. Yeah.
Good afternoon, mate. You better be running for the hills, buddy. Yeah, right. The weather's coming through there, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they can turn, man. They're unpredictable. Sometimes they just don't understand because, we're at risk.
Your phone's breaking up. Your phone's breaking up bad.
Guys, I think I'm being screwed with, guys, because my service is constantly screwed, man.
Yeah, why would it click like that on a cell phone? That's odd. I wonder why that would do that. A landline, I could see that doing that. But I don't know. I've been getting shadow banned, too, because I'm going to tell you right now, like I said, past couple shows, as soon as I opened up my mouth and I said I got 20 to 25 callers all the time on my call screen, I haven't had them since. I've only had about 10 or 12. That's it. Maybe, and that's it. I've never gone past 14 since.
Yeah, if you can hear me now, I went outside. I don't know if you can hear me any better. They're kicking in the shadow banning in a very surreptitious manner right now, like big time. They not only did they deleted my YouTube channel, obviously a couple years ago that I had for 15 years.
They deleted my Facebook account that I had for 15 years. A couple months ago, again, now they deleted my TikTok, which I was just approaching 10,000 people. I had 9,980 something followers and 900 and about the same amount of following. So both the follows and followers and the following were just about to go over 10,000, and they deleted the account because I'm always putting videos out, on TikTok talking about the truth. So they deleted that account, and they permanently banned my TikTok account about 5 times over the last year. But every time there was an option to appeal, and when I appealed, they always reinstated it. And now there's not even an option to appeal. There's not even an appeal option. They just banned it completely. And then I created a second account a few months ago, and I started using that one, and I did a video, and as soon as I posted the video, it said your account has been deleted. So I am on the front burner with them in terms of shadow banning and screwing with me through my phone. I constantly get my calls dropped. I constantly had bad service. I constantly can't get online. Constantly my phone. It's like there's just dicking with it. Because, it gets frustrating.
Yeah.
They know it's frustrating.
It does.
I had a problem with Europa. I got an information, something from YouTube, told me that it was not following their guidelines. And next thing I know, I can't post Europa again. I can't talk about Europa. Now, I have got, no offense to Sarge, I have got more black African-type videos, and I've never clicked on anything like that to see what's going on. It's like they changed my whole format.
Wow, right. Your algorithms then, they did, yeah.
Yeah, they algorithm you out, man.
Holy smokes.
Well, tonight at 9 o'clock, tonight at 9 o'clock, I'm going to bring this voter integrity thing that we're bringing up here that we're doing. I'm going to bring that up on the Liberal Dan show. And Liberal Dan obviously is a liberal, and he does a YouTube and a blog talk. So he's got quite a following, his liberal retards there that he's got on there. But I'm going to bring it up and on there. He pretty much lets me come on anytime I want, and I'm going to bring it up, and hopefully we can get him to get some of his zombies there to buy into it. Because, look, I don't have a problem with Democrats and liberals fighting for voter integrity.
No.
I know. I doubt it.
And who knows? Maybe one day Republicans and/or conservatives might get as corrupt as Democrats. Everybody should want an election process with integrity. Everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that is if you're honest and you have integrity. So, like I said, right now, the Democrats want the system to stay the way it is or get even easier, because that always makes it easier to cheat. Even William Barr said that before they got a hold of him and made him have a come to Jesus moment and changed his tune about it. But he said it.
That's right.
But the universal mail-in ballot was rife with potential for fraud, and he was right.
That's right.
It is.
I see it's area code 269. And so now we got a bunch of you now on the line. So let's see what you want. Go ahead, 269.
Yeah, is that Sarge?
Yes, it is.
I think so, yeah.
Hey, Sarge, did you hear Joe Gibson on the other shows calling everyone nigger?
There we go.
Look, I know. I haven't heard Joe Gibson use the word nigger in response to anybody except when he was answering someone when he was complaining about someone calling me a dirty nigger.
No,
that is the only time I've heard him use that word.
Yeah, I'm going to mute you there, 269, because this is an Attack Joe Gibson hour. If you want to. What an idiot.
We don't even listen to that asshole's mouth. He needs a lesson. He needs a lesson, Joe. As you know, I've often tried to help society straighten out the usage of the term, right? Because the simple fact of the matter is the whole nigger thing has been crafted and devised purposefully by the same corrupt powers that we always talk about that own the Fed.
I don't like using it on I don't like saying it because it's really not supposed to be saying it on Blog Talk Radio. So
it could be corrupted like you wouldn't believe. The way they use that word now, it's used as a cudgel and a means of exercising power over speech now. It's not an honest denunciation of an epithet. Nowadays, it's a cudgel to beat people over the head with whom you want to get to conform.
Well, you know what that idiot's going to do now, Sarge? Yeah, you know what that idiot's going to do? He's going to copy that. He's going to take that now, what he said in that word and how Mike used it. He's going to edit it and he's going to string it along and he's going to have you talking saying that, and he's going to play it on other podcast shows. Yeah, that's what they're going to do.
But we know the truth because I remember that show where you were actually admonishing someone for using the term in regard to me. That's true.
Exactly.
Now, like I said, we are dealing with people who reject all truth. I mean, everything is about distorting things. We know that. I mean, there's not much we're going to be able to do about that other than counter it with truth.
That's true.
Because they're everywhere.
Very true.
Oh, look at what's going on with Donald Trump and this prosecution by this Marxist Black Panther spawn, Bonnie Willis. Everything. Yeah. And look, and she was making. I've got. A screenshot of her social media pages where she was questioning the election in almost identical terms to Donald John Trump.
Wow.
It's staggering the hypocrisy of these people.
Hey, did you see, real quick, that's not divert here, but, on TikTok, what was that? I think a fifth grader got suspended from school, elementary school, can't come back because he has the Gadsden flag patch on his book bag. And can't come back to school. Suspended.
Yeah.
Well,
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
He shouldn't be going to the indoctrination camp anyway,
Yeah.
Well, they're all
indoctrination
camp. If they're run by teachers unions, especially in big cities, for the most part, that's all they are. And
private caller.
Campuses and everything. In fact, today I just saw an article about the University of Alabama dean, a black woman, and she says the purpose of the university experience is to enhance and further racial identity. That is what she literally said. That's the reason we have universities, to foster racial identities.
Yeah.
Wow. Is it any wonder why we're where we're at right now?
Well, anyway, just touch base real quick here for the people that just tuning in. Hang on. We went over the Voter Integrity Act. If you haven't gotten it in your email box yet, the final template or the final Lorianne will have done probably tonight, she said. And then if not, you'll have it by Friday. Everyone should have it. And then on Monday, we're going to go ahead and start sending it out to certain states. Like, for instance, we're going to start maybe with Florida, maybe with Georgia first, then Oregon. And everyone who's a podcaster, everyone's listeners, you're going to promote that on your show, and that's how we're going to do it. We're going to go state by state, but one at a time, and all of us got to hit that state at the same time. All of us. Just can't hit our own states. So that's what we're going to do, and that's the plan here. Let me go 551 here, area code. Hang on, my call board is just bouncing up and down here. Go ahead, 551.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, he said he wanted to throw coloreds like you and.
You're off. All right, private caller. Private caller. No, you don't want to talk.
Hey, Joe.
Hello.
Hey, Joe.
Yes.
Let's say for the sake of argument that you did those things. And again, this is only for the sake of argument that you said
why
these
not?
things. I tell you, you issue an apology to me and all the black folks out there, and I at least will forgive you. You can do that right now.
I apologize, Sarge. I apologize. If you were offended, Sarge, as a friend of mine, I apologize. But I don't know what I said. But I apologize anyway.
Yeah, if somebody out there hallucinated you saying those things, then you want to apologize for their hallucination. Go ahead. I'll accept your apology.
Come on there, private caller. You can apologize.
Yeah, why don't you apologize for the gays like your son?
Can't hear you. Take the marbles out of your mouth.
I apologize. I have your son's cock in my mouth.
Oh, Lord. Let's get back to election integrity, shall we? Let's get back to election integrity, so maybe we can forestall a civil war if we can get a reasonable measure of election integrity. Because I can guarantee you, if they try to suspend these elections in 2024, I predict you there will be some measure or degree of an outbreak of civil unrest. And I would like to forestall that and not have that happen. I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah. I don't. That's why we're doing this, Sarge. We're using the Constitution, the tools in the Constitution to do this lawfully and peacefully. We've got the template all drafted up, and everybody pretty much agrees with what was read off, and Lori Ann's doing a good job touching it up. And we'll have it emailed to everybody. And hopefully, I think American Statesman podcast, she mentioned something, defend Florida or something, or defend Constitution. I'm not sure. Some group she said she was going to try to introduce me to on the show tonight. I'm not sure if they're going to be here or not. I don't know. But if we can align ourselves with other groups, that's fine. But we're not going to divert from the plan. We're going to stay focused like a laser beam on, like I said, on this one particular issue right now. And of course, we're going to tackle other issues, but we're starting with this. And that's the key, man. That's the key. Because we're going to, there's no reason why all of us together cannot make a change or a voice or some sort of dent into this, or wake some people up even. That'd be great. I mean, that's what it's all about, and that's what we're trying to do instead of wasting our time about gossip, But where do we get a copy? Someone said in the chat room there. Lori Ann's in the chat room. You got to give us your email. Give us your email, and you'll get a copy of it. Okay, Lori Ann. Somebody in the chat room wants a copy of it, I guess, or email to them. But yeah. So I got listen, I got all these guys open. Your mics. Go ahead, have at it, guys.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm gonna open anybody else up.
Link to it in the chat room, by the way. So if you're in the chat room, scroll up, and I did put the link in there earlier.
Okay. All right. Yeah, the link to it is in the chat room, guys. All right. I got a couple callers here. We'll go. I'm gonna try patching you through here. Go ahead, private caller. No.
Oh, I've got your son's cock in my mouth.
All right, okay, you're off the air. Okay, private caller. How about you?
Oh, I have your wife's cock in the mouth.
All right, you're off the air. Okay, there. Okay, that's what fills my board up. See, I said I don't get 20, 25 callers anymore, but I lied. These are the idiots on the other end. Oh boy. Anyway. All right, so. You guys got the floor. Go ahead. I'm going to let you guys run the show here tonight. Go ahead. I'm not going to moderate, interrupt you. I got everyone's microphone open. Go ahead.
The first thing I want to ask is there supposed to be another group? I thought we were all one group. That's the reason why, they're so upset, is because we're one group.
And you got that right. And that's what they see. They see unity coming, too, and they don't like that. But
they're the ones that instilled it.
Yeah.
They're the ones that created it. They're the ones that made the necessity.
But you guys go ahead and talk. Go ahead. You guys got the floor. Go ahead. I got to step out for about 5 minutes here. So go ahead. You guys got the floor. Go ahead.
Supreme Court had a huge ruling this week. National concealed carry is about to go down. They let an argument that went through from New Jersey into Massachusetts, where the Massachusetts judge said if they tried to bring a gun into their state, they needed to have another concealed carry permit. Well, they shot that down, and basically what it did is it opened the door for about 15 different ways that now.
Well, if they need a concealed carry, but you don't need to have a permit in order to open carry, that just made the entire 50 states open carry.
Exactly. It's exactly what's going to happen. Yep.
And that's the way it should be.
No matter if you have a felony or not.
And as he crossed the line in the building, like in a mall, he crossed over a state line, and where he worked at, he had to have a concealed permit, but yet in his state, when he's not a felon, but it makes him a felon moving into that state with his firearm by concealing it. So they shot it down. It's a huge, huge thing. So good. Thank God for that.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead, 332. Go ahead.
No. Yeah. Who's the bigger?
All right, there you go. You're off. Okay, sorry. I'm just trying to connect everybody who's want to get on the panel here tonight to talk. So go ahead, guys. Continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got a lot of troll fans, don't you?
Oh, they don't stop.
We earned them. We earned them. If we didn't do anything, we wouldn't have a troll. We would not have paid insurgents in order to continue to bother us.
Oh, you haven't seen the worst of it.
Unless you're over the target.
Sarge, you remember those late night ones I do, how I got attacked? Oh, man. Boy, I tell you, they come out of the woodwork.
But like I said, you don't get flack unless you're over the target.
There you go. But
So,
Biden, but what were you saying now about the I mean, they scheduled Trump's court hearing for what? Super Tuesday, was it? They scheduled it for what? When happened
the day before Super Tuesday.
Yep. Unreal.
Yep.
Unreal.
What are they going to do? I mean, really, as soon as this year goes to a federal, all of these cases are being removed to federal. As soon as they go to federal, there's no prosecution. It's over. Is anyone aware of that?
Actually, the judges are going to make a ruling on the case of Mark Meadows, whether or not he's going to sever the case. Did any of the attorney generals sign off on these charges? No.
Did any of them? Okay. Well, that's real simple. Then it stops at the state level because every single one of those charges, including the Ku Klux Klan Act, cannot be enforced without the write-off of this the attorney general. Whether it be state or federal.
I mean, I cannot believe the shoddy legal research of Fulton County and the staff. I mean, they didn't even do any legal research into the federal aspect of this. They didn't do any legal research about, like you said, the Ku Klux Klan Act. It was just pure shoddiness. They've been doing this for 2 years, and you wouldn't think they would have covered every legal angle there is. This just not only shows the corruption, their stupidity, their venality, their sheer incompetence, man, is over the top. It's off the chain.
Well, then that's the reason why I was bringing up Quo Warrento earlier, because these people are supposed to have a high school education. If they weren't,
at least,
it's a mandate that you learn about the Ku Klux Klan Act. No, they won't tell you that you have to learn 18 U.S.C. 241, 242, 245, and all these wonderful computer-sounding things. But you do have to learn the Constitution. You do have to learn the Ku Klux Klan Act. You have to learn the Civil, War. You have to learn World War II. It's a requirement for high school. And then they get into office and they don't display any of this education. I question their high school diploma. They don't belong in there. Okay? If they can't display a high school diploma, a Quo Warrento will remove them. That's the reason why. This is new ground here.
There's no requirement like that, nowhere near that for today. Look at what they're doing. I mean, we're talking about kids here in Athens.
But they misrepresented themselves as having a high school diploma. You got to remember, all these corrupt people happen to be lawyers. In order to get into the lawyer school, they had to have a high school diploma and pass the LSAT.
And not only that, they're supposed to study constitutional law, since the Constitution is the basis for every single law in the United States.
Correct.
Well, I just watched, what's his name?
Well, actually, it's not the basis, it's a prohibition of any law.
Well, yeah. Exactly.
Well, I'm watching in Congress now, and they're talking about nominating somebody that does driver's license court and putting them on the bench federally.
Oh, this Tanya Chutkan is one of the worst. Have you seen her latest ruling?
Oh, my God.
I mean, the one that's overseeing the insurrection, the federal insurrection case against Trump. Her latest ruling has to do with comparing January 6th to 9/11 and the Boston Marathon bomb.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I'd say re-elect no one and drag them all out by their hair. All of them. Start from the ground up.
Yep, that was my strategy last election. That's my strategy this one. Like, I'm not going to re-elect anybody.
I don't care if they bring George Washington back from the dead. No re-election for nobody.
No, I'll do the George Washington thing, and the only reason being is because we all need to have dentures, and he knows how to make them out of wood.
Well, one thing you got to say about old Georgie, though, George set the standard for the presidency by not only declining to be crowned king, before, when his officers were disillusioned but not being paid by Congress, and they were prepared to install George Washington as a monarch, and he talked them down off the ledge from that. But not only that, he set the standard for the presidency by declining to be more than 2 terms, of course, until Franklin Roosevelt came along. But he set the standard, the mold for getting getting out of power. He was literally an American Cincinnatus. He declined power when he could have retained it.
Yeah.
We need more people like that.
Yes. Now Abe Lincoln is the one that let me down now that I'm finding out how he actually 7 different times he was attempted to take office and run, and he was shot down, and then it just, man, the way they sold us out to the British Crown, I just can't believe.
Well, look,
we're
folks,
so
if you
today.
think these people have any regard for the Constitution, I want you to consider this fact. There are people out there who tell us that that they adhere and honor the Constitution. We're the ones who reject the Constitution. And they just told us that the framers of the Constitution would have been perfectly fine with a person who was born a British subject, Barack Hussein Obama, being an Article 2 qualified president of the United States. They told us that to our faces. Now remember, they had to put a grandfather clause for themselves in order to be eligible, because none of the framers or the founders were natural born citizens. They were all born British subjects, and the only way they could legitimately be president is to put that grandfather clause in there, which nobody living today is covered by. Nobody. And they're telling us that a person who was born a British subject, Barack Obama admitted he was born a British subject, and they're saying such a person would be eligible to be president of the United States. And they told us that goes with Kamala Harris, that goes with Vivek Ramaswamy, that goes with Ted Cruz, that goes to John McCain. These same people tell us this.
Let me throw in a tidbit here that seems to get always put by the wayside. Everything that's being discussed right now is relative to a corporation that has nothing to do with the Republic of the United States of America. Which is the reason I'll never vote again, because I will never vote for a president for their corporation. So the whole issue really comes back to people waking up to that reality.
And it's now the White House.
It comes back to the fact that more and more people are waking up to the reality that they need to even do paperwork to signify, hey, I'm aware you're a corporation. I want nothing to do with your corporation. I'm a free man on the soil in the Republic of the United States of America.
Yep.
Well, I think in support of our proposition here about election integrity, we also need to start mustering as much evidence as we can, and I've already got volumes of it myself, of the admitted uncontroversial election irregularities, outright fraud, and anomalous activities over the 2020 election and the 2022 election. There are literally volumes of it. Now they'll try to tell you that none of it was outcome determinative. None of it had anything to do with the way the election came out. But we have literally got thousands of examples. And I'm not even talking about, remember, I won't even have to mention a word about voting machines, even though that is a problem. Don't get me wrong. I'm talking about things that have to do with the Article 2 of the Constitution with regard to selecting electors. That was completely violated in at least 3 states. They just flat out. We talk about the vote rigging with the intelligence operatives saying that Hunter Biden's laptop had all the hallmarks of a Russian disinformation campaign. The things that dealt with ballots missing and tractor trailer loads of ballots coming up.
Well, now we're back to where I was talking.
All of these things. I mean, we need to compile as much of this.
Everybody knows about all that. Sarge, everybody knows
but we need to
about all
compile
that.
it, though.
I want to hear what Alan has to say. Let Alan.
But we need to compile it in order to help justify why we're doing what we're doing.
I didn't even know that Trump was the president of a corporation when I voted for him. I didn't even know it at the time. Now I know.
Well, Trump is incorporated. His business is incorporated. As a matter of fact, it's probably got about 200 different corporations under the same corporation. So a corporation gives birth to a corporation. But we're back to where I started. Without the quo warranto, by what authority? The question is, by what authority do you do these things? We've lost because as soon as we sit there and we initiate this, they'll say, oh, terribly sorry, stay at home, it's COVID, or other things. And they pretend to have that authority to say that. They are pretending. And if we can show that they did not and nor ever had the authority, such as Fauci, which we also know never had the authority to do the dictation. We also know that the health department never had the ability in order to come out with their own guidelines. Never. That's not what they do. Okay, but this has all come out afterwards. Now, we have the same scenario as the election. We know that the machines were tampered with. We identified Wi-Fi's that they were using. We identified chips that came in from China that is like, an IBM 8080 chip, except it has its own Wi-Fi attached to it. And we have this evidence. Now, who do we give this evidence to? There's nobody that's responsible in order to take the evidence. Now, there is something that happened at Ferguson that maybe somebody will wake up to. There was 2,500 arrests that were all based on, you can't stop walking. 5-second rule, or we'll shoot you with a rubber bullet. Things like this. 2,500 arrests for protesting peacefully. Only 8 people went to the FBI. To the FBI, oh my God, the gates opened. The floodgates opened. Oh, there's 8 people here giving a complaint. Well, those 8 people is all it took in order to overturn 2,500 charges in one swing of the gavel.
We can't trust the FBI.
When we're sitting here looking at these evidence, and we have the evidence, we have more evidence of UFOs in the general population than the government will ever admit to. Why are we sitting there still arguing whether they exist? We have more evidence of election tampering in the public realm without their denials ever being functional. So the only way in order to do this is with teeth. And again, it's not going to matter if they pretend to follow something that we sent them. If it has no enforcement, i.e. the FBI or something of that nature, there's not going to be anything. So where is the funnel going? Whose desk is it sitting on to actually arrest Biden? It's the FBI. They're the only ones. Well, actually, I'm referring to Joe Biden, not his son. But the thing of it is, they're the only ones that have the actual authority to make that arrest, or any one of these officials. They're the only ones.
Well, we the U.S. Marshal, too, the U.S. Marshal's office.
No, the investigation has to be initiated by the FBI, and the U.S. Marshal's office is the ones that enact the warrant. And that is done with Federal Court Rule 4B. If a affidavit accompanying a complaint leaves reasonable belief or, RAS, reasonable articulable suspicion that a crime actually committed, that a judge will and must issue a warrant. If upon the request of a government lawyer, then a summons can be issued in its stead. So they still have a choice.
Let me interject on that point, Alan. Let me interject on that point, because what you just read was laughable, because what you read was the truth and the law, but the reality is, even what
without it being presented, there's no one.
Hold on, let me finish my thought again, Alan. What Rick Martin sent out to a million people across the United States to turn over the 200-page Anthony Fauci dossier to their local state attorneys, which most of you guys know I did and got assaulted, and I'm in the process of filing a claim against the state attorney's office. But people were doing that all around the country. There's more than enough information to show reasonable, articulate suspicion a crime was committed.
Exactly.
But nobody has done anything, and nobody will.
And nobody has put down the crayon-colored signs and gone straight to the state's attorney's office for an appointment. Terribly sorry, sir. There's 250 people here to see you today. None of them is on your appointment. They're not going away. You want to know something? That will do the job.
Building that are in jail still. They went and did something. They went. They didn't. They went.
You can't even sit there and record in the hallway of a courthouse. Although that decision was made back in the time of Al Capone. The only thing they actually banned lawfully was the use of a flash bulb.
Okay,
and
yet we can't take cameras into the courtroom.
You can't, by just looking at what they're doing, if you like Trump or not, you just can't look at these three-letter agencies and trust them because they're sitting on national television lying to us. They know that they've lied to us. It
is the head of the department that's doing that,
and
it's not the department in general. When we show up en masse, okay, in order to sit there and imagine this, in St. Louis, okay, the federal courthouse and the FBI is in the same building. They're just in a lower floor. And then they have, of course, the library and stuff like that, everything that goes with a federal courthouse. When a federal judge looks down and sees a line going out the door, well, what are those protesters? They're not protesters, sir. What are they? Well, they're here to file a complaint. Oh, my God, shut the door. They can't do it.
No, but it's okay to burn it down.
And the only thing missing from that line of people is the pitchforks and the torches, because they're after Frankenstein, and that is the biggest message that we can send the judge that's sitting up there. If you don't sit there and comply, this line's going to get larger, and we're coming after the courthouse. In words, in something you can't ignore, without paper, crayon-colored signs, that these crayon-colored signs. Now,
I have yet to see a paper crayon sign put anybody in jail.
Oh, it has. There was 2,000. Just simply from protesting, you go to jail. But
we cannot rely on this government, the system that we're trying to go around and defeat and get rid of. We can't rely on them to put in people in position to prosecute someone. We can't do it.
They're not going to put themselves in they're not going to sit there and say, sure, I'll leave. Why? It's too profitable.
Yes, they will when they see. That's exactly like the mob. When the mob did something and they knocked somebody off, the rest of the people fall in line. You either act right or you go to the trunk and get something.
I got news for you. The mob is better with ethics than any of our government.
No shit.
As a matter of fact, you break ethics with the mob, regardless of who you are, you're dead. Not the fact that you sit there and did something wrong, or you did something wrong to somebody else. It's the fact that you broke the ethics. And I got news for you. All these guys, every single one of them, most of them are lawyers. And they have broken every ethic in the book for law.
They're not lawyers. They're a bunch of fake. They're imposters. They're not lawyers. They're people that work for. They act like government. They're part of that stupid corporation. Exactly.
There you go. And who are they actors for currently? Currently, they're actors for the Chinese Republic, because the Chinese Republic. By the way, this is something I just found out this week. If you are 6 years old in China and you go to school, you say whatever allegiance that you have for whatever flag they want to, or whatever it is that they do. But right after that, the first thing that you're doing is learning how to disassemble and reassemble a semi-automatic pistol. And then after that, you reassemble a rifle. Meanwhile, what do they do? They've forgotten to do any of the Pledge of Allegiance or anything in our class. Instead, they skip over that and go straight to, oh, you're a boy? Are you a fluffy? Are you a dog today? Great. I'm terribly sorry. What do you think's going to win? The 6-year-old when he's 20 years old and got a gun in his hand, or the transvestite at 20 years old with a purse?
Well, that's why all the reasons.
And then you want to sit there and find out what the heck's wrong with this. How do we stop it? It's real simple. But, I mean, it is simple. It's simple to say. I know. And this here came this last week, too. The words freeze Pfizer's accounts. When they freeze Pfizer's accounts, all your bribery, all your illicit campaign funds are going gone.
They're not going to freeze their account.
That's exactly what. Why not? We have enough. We have enough right now in order to put Pfizer under investigation internationally for the crimes, including in Australia, which they've already exposed, but you haven't heard about it yet. Okay, in England and in Ireland, they threw out the entire COVID thing in Ireland because the council in Ireland, whatever they are, figured out that they have never isolated the COVID virus.
Yeah,
but that's not getting back here. We have international courts that are already doing this, and the only thing we need is the American public and this audience to start knowing it.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Getting everybody to understand the fact that we have to be the ones to take back our courthouses. These people are employees of us. We are the boss, not them. We can't do it with a complaint.
I'm going to go ahead and dump. I'm going to dump something in here, and Joseph, don't take offense to this, but anybody in the audience that can donate to Joseph, okay, I've got something I can work, and it would take 3 or 4 months in order to get him on the paperwork. But we have a block license for FM radio, okay? And a lot of people won't know that unless you're over 60 years old and had a radio telegraph since you were 12. So we have a block license for FM radio. That means that we can set up anything under 500 watts any place that we want nationwide. Now, if you want to sit there and get Joseph his own radio station, I want people in order to sit there and do this, because I got news for you. They can block us on the internet. They can block us on the telephone. They can sit there and have the NSA do all this. But on the FM radio, there's nothing they can block.
FCC.
We are, as a matter of fact, it's not the FTC allows them to censor. The FCC does not.
The WNIR, the Akron Talk of Akron, is one of the biggest talk radio shows in the country, and they are on a delay, and it sucks. It sucks.
That's the emergency broadcast system, because they are commercial. They are required to have the emergency broadcast system, which is an automated system that not only interrupts in order to give, hey, there's a tornado in the area, but monitors your broadcast. What we are running is manual. We run manual, okay, for the emergency broadcast system, meaning that's not in line. We're under 500 watts. It is not required until I think you get up to 5,000.
How many watts how far can you broadcast with 500 watts, though?
How tall is your antenna? I will tell you this. I was sitting at the bottom of the hill in Cross Hill, Illinois, and you can go out and get the demographics. I went from Joliet all the way down to Braidwood, about 30 to 40 miles.
Are you familiar with Kent State, where the shooting happened in the 60s?
Rewind and
Kent State University.
Are you talking?
Kent State's in Ohio. Ohio.
Yes, it's in Ohio. It's like 15 minutes from me. That's where they broadcast from, and my signal sucks. It's fine. I know they're at least 500 watts, so it's not far. It's like 30, 40 miles.
I'm going to tell you right now. I went from Joliet all the way to Braidwood, which is 30 miles away, with only 40 watts. It has everything to do with your geographic location and your altitude, not your strength. Now, if you take a quarter watt, you remember the quarter watt CB or walkie-talkies you could buy that had written on it, G.I. Joe? You can go out to the top of the Sears Tower and talk all the way to Hammond, Indiana.
All right, can you set up a chain of these stations broadcasting at the same time?
That's what I'm doing. I'm sitting here looking. I am looking.
Like relays?
Yes, that's what I've got. I've got the hardware in order to do that right now. Only thing I need is the transmitters up. I'm sitting here looking at the antenna for my transmitter. And I am sitting here looking not only at a 100-watt transmitter for FM, but directly below it is a 25-watt transmitter with digital television. Not the analog television, digital television. Now, I went ahead and I bought this equipment.
I'm not scared to climb up no antenna. I'll climb up any goddamn antenna you want, and I'll put whatever you want up there. I don't care where it's at.
Now, wait a minute. I got another question. How many stations do you envision, and what would be the range of that chain of stations?
All right, let's get rid of Chicago now. Chicago, we've got covered with WBOU. In Chicago, we have 1,000 and a 500-watt transmitter for downtown Chicago to be able to punch through the walls there. We have 2 more transmitters in Milwaukee, but these are very large areas. Okay, a lot of a lot of buildings in the way. You actually you don't need power for distance. You need power for punching through a wall. Okay. So we have approximately 80,000 in Chicago. We have another 60 to 80,000 in Milwaukee with our transmitters. Now, if you go out to a rural area, let's say something like Joliet, with 20 watts, you will have all of Joliet. Remember, with a 5-watt transmitter in your car for CB, we're slightly higher frequency, so you do lose about 10% of your range. But if you can talk to them on the CB radio at 5 watts, you can actually sit there and pick up this radio station, especially with 100 watts.
Like being in a
so what's the lowest megahertz you can go to? Isn't it like 88 megahertz? Isn't that the lowest you can legally go to?
Yeah, but well, I mean, if you go below that, you don't have any receivers that's going to be picking you up, and you go into LP, extreme low power or extreme low frequency. You're in the L frequencies then. Okay, but that's in the FM radio dial. You'd have to go to the AM. Now, I will tell you right now, if you try to put up an AM transmitter, you are going to need 10,000 watts. However, there's several tricks. There's a special configuration. If you only have a 20-foot tower and you set it up right, you actually have a 40-foot tower. Okay, it's some of the learnings from Tesla. But AM radio is dead. Well, AM radio is dead. Nobody's listening to it.
It sounds worth looking into anyway, especially with this chain idea of stations that are transmitting a link for greater range.
But they're going to be ignored. Why? Because you can tell people are so tired of the propaganda. Here's a vision for you. Okay, you go down. You've got 30 or 40 unsigned bands that go bar to bar to bar to bar, giving their CD to the bar, trying to get a job. Right? They're getting $50 for a 5-man band, $10 for the night, maybe a couple of free drinks. That is not working for them. It's not working for anybody. But if you take that same, and this has already happened. This happened 15 years ago, 97.3. I took all the unsigned bands in the area and stuck them on the radio station in regular rotation. Those bands went from $120 a night to $600 a night.
That's what the university around here did with bands. Somebody did that with their rock station. Right.
Okay, so as soon as these people, and again, I mix those unsigned bands in with regular ASCAP BMI. People do not know this is not a new band that just hit the charts. Okay, right. So what I did is I captured the entire freaking Joliet area, and I had WBBM, and there was a couple others that was really crying, and they could do nothing about it. I stole their freaking audience, literally, out from under them. Why? Because I was locally geared, and I had local draw. And every single band that I sit there and played, I had 5 more people. Hey, you got to listen to this radio station, man.
Right.
So if you had 20 people, 20 times 5 is what? You had 100 people out there voicing, their preference to tune in that station.
It's a mouthpiece. You just say all by mouth, word of mouth. What are we talking about money-wise here? If you were to link this, like Sarge said, if we went in a link system, whatever, let's do 2,000 miles. If we could do that, what kind of money are you talking about?
Okay, there's a better system than that. There's actually an extremely low power system, and 2,000 miles, you're dead. Okay, you're going to have to work by remote any way you look at it. Okay, and you're talking about a lot of links there. Okay, I wouldn't go there. What I would do is I'd start with a population. Your hometown population is great. Now I have the marketing, I have the licensing. There's a gentleman that I work with by the name of John Rickey that also has the television, broadband, cell system, and Wi-Fi service, okay, that is made like a cell phone system. And he has a licensing for that. Now, currently I'm operating under WBOU out of Chicago, which under the Emergency Broadcast Network, I'm authorized up to 500 watts. And I can arrange this for anybody out there.
Are those like the local channels you get, not satellite? Those are just like the local channels you can pick up now digitally? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, yes, my FM transmitter is an FM dial, the same radio you have in your car right now. Okay, and the frequency, after a frequency survey in this area, 97.5. Okay, right in the middle of the dial is the frequency I'm going to go for. Now, we do have 3 or 4 different pirate radio stations, a couple of religious ones, which are considered pirates. They're individual, or they're the only Spanish station we have, so they're leaving them alone. And they're either at 88 or way up at 106 or 108. Okay, they're at the ends of the dial. Everyone misses them because some of these phones won't actually go there, or your radio won't actually go to the last or the first radio. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Right. So, yeah, 88.1, 107.9 is about useless, and then 97.5 here is actually, because we have the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's one of the biggest stations we have. That's exactly where they're at, 97.5.
All right. Well, the thing of it is, I was blowing away 10,000 and 20,000 watt stations in Joliet, and I stole all of their local audience, meaning that the only thing that they were talking to was state and county. And it's okay. You want to know why? Because that's all they had was state and county, state and national news and advertisers. Okay? You want to sit there? I mean, what Ma and Pa Kettle restaurant in town can afford $3,900 a month for radio advertising? And if they live in Fort Collins, how come they're advertising to the population of Denver? Because if you sit there, you draw a circle, and then you cut a little piece of the pie from Denver all the way to Fort Collins, you have less than 2 degrees of a circle that your advertising is going to. But why not sit there and give $500 to a radio station that covers all of Fort Collins but doesn't cover anything else? That they can do.
You pick up the bands.
Okay. Now, there's another thing that you have to know about. You cannot sell advertising. You cannot sell.
Bars.
All right. Well, you cannot sell advertising. So how do you make money? It's real easy. You're not selling them advertising. You are giving credit to one of the producers.
Right.
No donation. It's credit for production. The same way WTTW is public television in Chicago, and they run advertisement all day long. But this program brought to you in part by. It's not an advertisement.
Okay.
Okay, but they paid $500 for the production of it, didn't they?
What kind of money are you talking about to achieve this, to make this possible?
Well, again, it is not. Listen, Joseph, if he's not already strapped, okay, could afford it in a single month. He can afford all the equipment. I can get you most of the equipment delivered, lock, stock, and barrel, right on down to the coax, probably for less than $2,500.
Oh, climate.
And at $2,500, I might be able to get you the next size up, like a 200 or 300 watt. But I'd actually have to go check to see what transistors and stuff like that are available immediately.
Now, when you do that, with Joe, now say you did that for Joe, and I think he's not in Greensboro, is he? Somewhere down there. But now, how often does it have to be maintained? You know what I'm saying? How long do you have to sit behind the? You got to have people working for you. I mean, of course, you can't do it all.
Actually, no. As a matter of fact, 97.3, and you'd be surprised, Jack FM doesn't have a single DJ. All these locations do not have a single DJ. If they have a morning show, the chances are the morning show was recorded the night before.
Or done
the only thing that they have is one engineer. If something goes wrong, they can sit there and drop the main transmitter and start up, the backup transmitter, and that's it.
Okay. Is Joe still on the line?
I certainly hope so.
Wake up, Joe Gibson. Well,
hello. Well, again, the point I'm trying to make is if we can get
earlier, but not sure if he's back yet.
Well, if we can get the audience in order to sit there and start supporting people, and don't forget, people, if we fail in 5 years, we will be the first ones up against the wall.
Oh, you got that right.
That you're listening to right now, you will have condemned to death because you didn't exercise your First Amendment. That's the God honest truth.
Did you hear all that stuff, Joe?
What's that?
Did you hear everything we were talking about?
Just a little bit. I just got back about 5 minutes ago, so I had to run out and do something.
Well, Joe, we're trying to get your audience. Joe, we're trying to get your audience in order to finance a radio station of your own.
Oh,
and I've got the license in order to put it on.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of like going to be running for public office, so I don't know if I got time for that.
Give it to somebody else. Give it to somebody else, and all your recordings. Okay, I'm not joking. Okay, you want to sit there and run for public office? What office are you running for?
North Carolina House of Representatives, District 65.
Damn,
I got
man,
you.
I
got to fight for change, man. Yeah, I got to fight for change.
I hear you.
Don't like the way things are.
Are you in Greensboro, Joe?
Greensboro, yes, Greensboro, yep. That's where I work out at Gold's Gym in Greensboro, but I live in Stokesdale.
What's your biggest radio station there?
Oh, boy.
Rock and roll.
Well,
listen,
know,
to be honest with you.
Joseph, what you can do is you can get this set up. Joseph, what you can do is get this set up, okay, with somebody that you trust and somebody that's in the music. If they belong to an unsigned band, you're entrusting them with the radio transmitter. They will do everything they can in order to please you and follow your rules. Okay?
Yeah, well, you got to get a license for that, though.
No, I just told you I have the license. We have emergency broadcast and repeater license through WBOU Chicago up to 500 watts. We can set up as many repeaters.
So all I need is a transmitter then. All I need is a transmitter.
Exactly. And that's about $2,500. It may be less. I'd have to check the pricing. They go up and down for some reason seasonally, and I don't know why yet. I have myself. I have a 100-watt transmitter. No, I wouldn't buy one from China. As a matter of fact, no, you cannot.
Why not?
Alan,
you cannot.
You were saying earlier, you were saying that, like, if you had an engineer that sat over, basically, say Joe did this and he wanted to do come on the air at 6 o'clock, the drive at 5 or some shit, and be on for 2 hours, make his plea or his make his
It's automated. Okay, it's automated. He goes online. He goes to the radio station computer, and he inserts himself live.
Yeah, and then he can do his election type thing, and then everything after that can be recorded, and it can be played through.
Well, no, it's not recorded.
Yeah,
it's just simply a playlist.
I had an AM/FM transmitter about 15 years ago, and I sold it. It was about $300-400 transmitter.
How many watts?
I think it was put up about. I think it was around 1,000. I'm not sure.
Oh wow!
I think.
You sold it. I would have taken that.
Well.
Okay. Right now.
15 years ago.
Again, right. But again, these transmitters, the licensing for the FCC, there's several different ways. You can get around it with the 1958 Civil Defense Act for up to 500 watts. The fact that we're already licensed in Chicago and we're putting up repeater stations under 500 watts.
I thought it was 10 watts you can get away with. That's it.
No. Technically, it's 1/4 of a watt outside and within the Part 15, but we're not operating with Part 15. We're operating under Part 47, which is a public address system designed under the 1958 Civil Defense Act, which allows you up to, actually, the Civil Defense Act is unlimited. The Part 47 allows you up to 500 watts.
Yeah, because if you apply for an application,
it'll
take years. You'll never get.
There's no application for this. No, we're already approved. The only thing we need to do is do a frequency survey prior to twitting it up.
Yeah, because I know
there's no
for a fact
actual
that
license for the individual. I can show it to you if you want, but there
I'm just
is
letting you know. I remember years
license.
ago I looked into the process and it was like a nightmare. It was like that's why I had.
Yeah, I know the LPFM. Yeah, it's $10,000 in order to just apply, and they wait 6-10 years in order to get a window that you can apply in. It'll take another 6 to 10 years for them to approve it.
I know it's a scam. It's all a scam.
Now, however, with John Rickey, which is part of my network, he has a block license. That's for FM, TV, Wi-Fi, cable, television, you name it. He has the license, and he has a probation period that is starting or has started in California, which is only a 6-month period. After he does that, we have all license for commercial through him. Currently, I can get you authorized through the repeater for under or 500 watts or under with WDOU.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll talk about that. We'll look into that. But as far as is Sarge still out there? Sarge still out there listening?
He was a little bit ago.
He was there. Okay.
Yeah,
well, everybody. Oh, okay. All right. Guys, I got something here I want to play here real quick. This was 10 years ago now. Mind you, 10 years ago. But I want you to listen to the rhetoric in it. A couple minutes, right? It doesn't tell me what this sounds like, or if you can remember some of this stuff. I remember the Patriot community from 10 years ago.
The need to stand up and say, look, I get letters all the time from people that are terrified and concerned and worried that the military is going to be used against them. And I saw that during Bush. There were Democrats who were upset about that, and rightly so. Looking at the rhetoric of the Bush administration, now you got Obama in there, and now you've got people on the conservative side who are waking up. And the reason why they're so afraid is because they all understand that power has grown so much, and the constraints on government has been eroded so much that they are all vulnerable. When one guy's in charge, then the other guys are terrified. When their guy's in charge, then they're terrified.
With every successive month that follows, more and more people wake up to the two-puppet system. There's a puppet on the left, a puppet on the right. Wait, it's one guy holding both puppets. I don't like that guy.
There's no dispute among the supposed spectrum between the left and the right, between Democratic and Republican, over the core ideology that is raping the country. So corporatism is about as close to unmitigated evil as you can get, because it has built into it a kind of logic of increasing profits without any regard for the human cost. We've destroyed our country. We've decimated our working class. We are in the process of decimating our middle class. We've created an American oligarchy. We are allowing corporate powers to destroy the ecosystem that sustains the human species. Nobody is stepping up, least of all Barack Obama, to stop it. And we are diverted by bread and circus. If you doubt it, just watch what passes for news.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Ducey with your Fox Flash. The Octomom and her mother, the Octograndma, face off in a heated online interview.
They have 6 beautiful children. You need to learn to let go. But you need to learn to let go. So I will never understand. You never will.
Anything inside the White House?
In a bed?
Not in my bed.
Recently, we've made some life-changing decisions.
Given the gravity of the situation around us, it would almost be amusing.
Are you a low-income?
And that was 10 years ago. Now, you guys remember that? I mean, it sounds similar to today, pretty much. So what's changed? Nothing. So what have you? What's the deal here? Are we just going in one big circle? We've been talking about the crash forever now. When is the crash? It's imminent. It's coming. When? I asked you guys that. When's the crash gonna come?
Propaganda has not changed since World War II. It's the same thing. It's always been the same thing. Motivate for the wrong reason.
Okay, but are we any closer to the end than we were 10 years ago?
Yes. You want to know why? We've got Alan and Joseph doing the job now.
Yeah, but I'm just
because
saying.
we won't change. We won't change our agenda. They will in order to fit whatever it is that they're doing.
I mean, where were you 10 years ago? Were you better off 10 years ago, or are you worse off 10 years ago?
I was homeless 10 years ago.
Okay, so you're better off today.
St. Louis, yeah.
Okay, so things have gotten better.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, my articles, 10 years ago, I was writing for Cop Block.
Well, what about you, Sarge? 10 years ago, Sarge, I know you were on Blog Talk Radio with me, so. but how about your life?
Say again, what was that? What about what?
10 years ago, how was your life compared to today?
As far as prospects and economics, I was infinitely better.
Okay. And
I didn't get a revival of my economic. In fact, I got a huge boost when Donald Trump was in office.
Okay,
economic
I
policy
agree with that.
and the ability and economic activity and a general sense of much, not all, of course, by any means. I'm not trying to say utopia because it was like.
I'll tell you what.
But I'm saying there was an inkling that liberties might turn. There was an inkling that some liberties that Americans are expected could either return or begin to become essential.
Can I tell you about what I remember 8 years ago? The best saying I heard about the election. The very best saying I heard about that election. If Hillary Clinton wins, we will have a civil war. If Trump wins, we will have a civil war, but this time we'll be able to afford one.
And a world war, they said, for Trump. And a war.
So are we just feeding into the frenzy? Are we just not going through the cycle of life feeding into this nonsense? Are we really in trouble in America, or is it just talk?
Well, we're in big trouble.
As long as we limit it to talk, yes.
Now you're talking about losing freedom of speech. You're losing your right to bear arms. You know,
but they said that cave 10 years ago. Obama, I remember they were marching in the streets, the military. Remember, they were doing drills. Remember Hurricane Katrina? It was the end. I remember the military was rounding people up. You know?
Yeah, but
they were confiscating guns.
Since this COVID, the lockdown, since that inception
I got
of that
407 wants to jump in here. I got another caller. I just saw it. So let me 407. Go ahead.
Hey, this is American Statesman. It definitely is worse. It is worse today. They were setting everything up back then. The plan, the intent was started years ago, but the very fact that they were able to literally, they tested the American spirit with COVID, and we saw how weak so many people were, how many people had been totally converted over to
legislation.
And truthfully, the election.
Hang on, Alan. Hang on. Let her speak. Go ahead.
Hold on.
So,
okay. The election of Obama was truly part of it too, because first off, the guy came out of nowhere. He had no experience. However, he was black, and unfortunately, the White Guilt, which is a book called White Guilt, written by a black man. The White Guilt said, "Well, we have to vote for him. We're going to be racist if we don't vote for him." I didn't vote for him because I saw what he was, but we have been so dumbed down through public education. And, that's something that takes time. How many generations now? Obama's generation, while he was in there, was one of the worst at dumbing down people. So we've gotten most people down to the point where they'll believe the propaganda, they'll believe the mainstream media is the virus. They're getting ready to do I will say what is better, if you want to call it better, the fact that we're having another pandemic about to be dumped on us, and there's people saying, I ain't doing it again. These people are full of crap. They're killing us, et cetera, et cetera. And we thought fluoride was bad. Remember years ago, they kept saying, we didn't put fluoride in the water. Fluoride's not bad for you. It's safe. And, of course, we all know that's not true now. What they're using today is a heck of a lot worse than what the fluoride was, including that atrazine or whatever it is, atrazine, that's actually part of, no wonder why men are turning gay, because they've been drugged. So we can actually say
that's true. Good point.
We are definitely worse off today the Great Awakening. You know, I know Alex. What's his name? Jeez, Sam. Alex. He's going out now. He's releasing a book, The Great Awakening.
Who's typing? Somebody's typing. Whoever's typing, I can hear it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Sally. Go ahead.
Not me. Anyway, the Great Awakening, it is happening. The question is, will enough people be awake by 2024? And truthfully, they want a civil war. These idiots want a civil war. Everything they're doing with Trump is to generate a civil war so they have an excuse to take us completely down. And, of course, this all goes back to how long, since they couldn't take our guns away, how long have they tried to take the guns away? More than 10 years. So since they can't take the guns away, what are they doing? They're blocking the ammunition and doing everything they can to stop the availability.
Yep.
They don't want us to travel, so they're not going to. What are they doing? They're taking away the cars from us in the stupid 15-minute cities. So we are definitely worse off because too many Americans have been converted to a bunch of sheeple. However, COVID-19 was a major, major test for what people were willing to do, and how many people today are still wearing masks in their cars all alone, and how many will put the masks on as soon as they tell you to do it again. How many? A lot. Thank God, a lot won't. But how many? So we're worse off today.
Yeah.
Their plan. It's a what do you want? The unrestricted war, the silent war, whatever you want to call it. They couldn't. Well, of course, now I think Maui is another Pearl Harbor thing. But in the past, the total bombing of people and everything of that kind of stuff is too blatantly obvious. What do you think fentanyl is about? They're doing everything they can to kill off the American people and bring in the others who don't have to get vaccinated or anything else. I mean, they're destroying us. Luckily, a few people are starting to realize, oh, yeah, this really is happening. And I have to put this out there, and then I'll shut up for a minute. The stupid thing that Biden wants to do, saying you're only allowed to have 2 beers a week. I don't drink beer, so I don't care, but it's alcohol, really. I mean, what do you think that is? Now, that may start a civil war right there if you take people's beer away.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, so it's crazy. We're worse off.
He's trying to help Bud Light out.
Well, they tried it with the swine flu. I remember that. Remember the swine flu? Remember that H1N1? Remember that? Yeah. So, they tried it and it didn't work.
All of these things we're talking about with the swine flu, all of them are from the same group of people doing the same gain-of-function research. It goes back to Fauci, back to like 86. Even to the
HIV. Paviravirus or whatever like that for women. And 30% of that, the people that receive that vaccination.
Well, we lost him. Where'd he go? Lost you there, Alan.
Didn't we have a train wreck in May? A big train wreck, and they lost a shit ton of what was the chemical that they lost? Like 80. I want to say 80 tons of it come up missing.
Well, they're always missing stuff like that. They're always missing stuff like that.
What was used in Timothy McVeigh? What fertilizer? What the hell is that stuff called?
Oh, I forget, but it's
Well, here, that's what happened at Maui. They're saying now that stuff is exactly what happens when it's put into the air and it gets something to ignite it. Now, if they're doing chemtrails.
There's so many stories going around about Maui right now. My head is spinning. Who knows what to believe? Aliens zapped it. Who knows? I think everybody will believe anything now. What they say, aliens zapped it.
The kids were made to stay home. The roads were blocked off by the police department. The guy in the police department, the same people running that show, are the same ones that were in Las Vegas for the shooting. Now you have kids staying at home because they want to turn that into a 15-minute city. They want to level it, build it, and then you're going to show you how it's done. And
Time will
China's
tell.
Already there. China's
Time
already
will tell.
there.
Time will tell what they turn that.
It's awful.
But listen, if they don't turn it into a 15-minute city, then we'll I don't know what I'm going to tell you guys. Then I'm going to say, well, guys, they didn't turn it into a 15-minute city. So hey, I got 314 here. 314. Hang on, guys. New caller here. 314. Go ahead. You're on.
Hey, Bill, what's going on?
Yes. How you doing?
It's Bianchi. I will listen to the conversation about the radio station.
Yep.
I being a ham extra class licensee, KT0J, I would advise everybody to get CB radios and also get some
Your
ham
call
radios,
has been
especially
forwarded to an
CB.
automated voice messaging system.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm trying to reconnect Alan.
A1000
is not available.
Yeah, I'm trying to
At the
reconnect.
tone,
I'm sorry.
please
Go ahead, Bianchi. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You're saying you know about the radio station stuff?
Yeah, he's talking about ham radio. I hold extra license in ham radio. I have had it for a long time, since at least 70.
Oh, okay.
But no, that'd be a good idea. People should get 2 meter and set up a repeater, and you can communicate with each other.
Yeah, that is
you
true.
got to get
That
a
is
license,
true.
at least a technician.
Yeah, I wonder how that works with that. I'm trying. If Alan would be patient for a second, I'm trying to call him back. It's going straight to voicemail. There he goes. Okay, there.
But we were talking about broadcasting as like Joe getting his message up. His whole message.
You bet. Thank you.
All right, you're back on. Go ahead. All right, I got Bianchi on here. Bianchi,
Well,
tell
yeah.
Alan what you were just saying.
No, I said I being an amateur or a ham extra class licensee, call sign is KT0J, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da. For those of you who know Morse code. But no, that's a good idea. So we can communicate, get the message out. They do use low wattage. And just do it. Everybody come up with ideas and just do it.
So they put find something like this in your state, https://www.publicmedianet.org. Submit content. That's what it is. That's what somebody put in the chat room, whatever that means. So that's good there. Well, we got 3 minutes left, guys. 3 minutes. So, closing thoughts, everybody?
Are you going to
closing
go over
thoughts,
the
everybody?
Dan
Yeah, I'm going to go to Liberal Dan here. Yeah, I'm going to go to Liberal Dan at 9 o'clock, guys. I'm going to try to propose my voter integrity. Liberal Dan, guys. He's on YouTube. Look him up. He's got a call-in number on Blog Talk. I'm going to call in there. Liberal Dan, he's on at 9 o'clock. It's all liberals. So trust me, when I get on there, look at that chat room. They go nuts when I get on there. It's like a bee's nest. So closing thoughts, Dave. You go first. And so we can hear you.
I think we need to. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to worry about finding people to hold people accountable on top of everything for what we're looking for. I mean, election-wise, let's just say we won't have this election because of the lockdown bullshit or whatever they're going to throw at us. And who knows, they may try to burn the middle of America up the way they burned up Hawaii. I mean, it's getting so bad now that these people have got to be held accountable, and to find somebody to do it, they're going to be the same ones that have to do the ones with the election fraud and everything else, and to do it right. I mean, I still stick by. I think we've got to have our military step in and say, hey, this is bullshit. This country is not going to be run like that. We're taking it over, and then we're going to give it back to the people and let us do what we're talking about uninhibited, and let us make the choices that we need to make and put the right people, hopefully, in place that we want. I yield.
All right. Sarge, what you got to say here at the end here? Sarge, you there?
Unmuted. I had to unmute myself. You know how that works. Again, what we've been talking about tonight is, I think, vital to the future of the Republic, because I don't think there's any single issue important in the immediate short term in regaining election integrity, so we can be assured of the outcome of this presidential election, because we have seen the power of an anti-American, anti-constitutional, corrupt, and wholly compromised president to make things worse for the future of that republic. And it is vital. Again, I'm not trying to correct everything that's wrong with this government, civically, governmentally, socially, culturally, because the list is too extensive to be realized in a short span of 2 years or even 4 or 6 years. I'm talking about just getting it in place so we can begin to reverse all of this grotesque transmogrification that we're seeing going on before our eyes. So that's why we got to restore election integrity. to begin the process, or at least arresting this tide of what we're looking at right now.
All right. Lorianne, you're next. Are you there? Closing thoughts,
sure
Lorianne.
am.
All righty, you got the floor. Go ahead.
So go ahead and comment on the document. I posted it in the chat room. I'll be working on finalizing it, and also stay tuned for Lucid Libertarian with Lorianne show on Sunday night, 6 p.m. Pacific time and 9 p.m. Eastern. It is my 2-year anniversary show, so everybody is welcome to call in. Hopefully I'll get some old-timers calling in, people I haven't heard from for a while, as well as some of the excellent people that I've met along the way. So I'm really excited to have my 2-year anniversary show this Sunday night.
There you go. Wow, that's good. Sally, go ahead. You plug your show. Final thoughts. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. American Statesman on Blog Talk Radio on Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We had a lively discussion yesterday. I posted out there in the chat. If you haven't watched 2030 Unmasked, you really need to. It's a documentary. It's going to tell you where we're at now, and it's going to give you a lot of history, the background of how we got here, and what to be expecting if we don't make changes. And also, Defend Florida is a group that's helping to clean up the elections. We actually have quite a few groups. We talked about that last night if you want to go and listen to last night's show. So we have some momentum here. We really have to take advantage of it. But we have to understand that these morons will do anything. They have no conscience. They don't care. Human life has no value to them. They'll kill anybody, as we've seen. And so people better just watch out. What they're doing to Trump is what they will easily do to us, and you just got to be careful. We have to come together and be united to defend ourselves, but beware of there's nothing else they will stop at. And they really do want a civil war, in my opinion. They really, really want us to do something like that, to initiate the civil war, so that they have a reason to take us completely down. So please be careful, and God bless America. Thank you.
Amen. And before I get to Alan, Bianca, you want to say anything real quick? You want to add anything else furtherance?
Well, there will be a civil war because some states just ain't going to put up with it. But there's some resources out there you should be sharing with your kids in the form of videos. One is Oliver Cromwell. The other is, of course, Athens, Tennessee, 1946. And you really want to see Fauci in action back during the days of AIDS. There's another video documentary out there called And the Band Played On. All right, talk to you later.
All right, thank you, Bianca. Appreciate it. I'm always glad when you call in. Alan, go ahead, take a couple minutes here. Good, finish your final thoughts to tonight's podcast so I can wrap it up, please.
You bet. First of all, what I'd like to do is come out of the closet and let you guys know what my noun is. Victor. I am the victorious. Okay? Joseph is the victorious. And without your audience participation, and I do mean participation that is pointless for us in order to do these shows. Each one of us has stuck our neck out so far in the shows that we've done during the time that we actually had free press was enough in order to put us up against the wall. What we're doing now, if we are not successful, we're not going to be the only ones up against the wall. You are too. Support Joseph and the show, please.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I appreciate everybody obviously calling in. Without you guys, there is no podcast show. But talk about anniversary. Oh, my Lord, if I did an anniversary show and got back all the people that have called in throughout all the years. Oh, my Lord, imagine that we fill up these phone boards 7 times over. Oh, my goodness. Every single week we'd have a full show. I mean, amazing, all the people I've interviewed and whatnot. So, the Voter Integrity Act that we have proposed here on Blog Talk Radio, all of us, we've done a good job putting it together. We talked about it now, like 3-4 shows. Now it's finalized, and everybody will get it in an email, and hopefully you'll do your part, and you'll send it out to the people that, we want to send it out to, which we're going to start, like I said, in probably Georgia first, or Oregon, or Florida. Those 3 states are definitely going to be first. And but we're going to go one state at a time. Everybody has to stick together, all the podcasters, and hopefully you guys will talk about it on your shows. I know Sally did last night, and Lorianne talked about it, but all the other podcasters, too. There's a dozen of us that we do podcast shows, so all our audiences and all our voices together, calling these politicians at once in one day, come on. We'll make a difference. We'll definitely make a difference. There's no reason why we cannot be heard and make a difference. So everybody, God bless our republic. Take care, and good night, everybody.
In the year of our Lord, 1314, patriots of Scotland, starving and outnumbered, charged the fields of Bannockburn. They fought like warrior poets. They fought like Scotsmen, and won their freedom.